Can you hear me? Sorry guys, I'm talking and talking. I don't even know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? I forgot to turn this on. I hope you can hear me. Hola Alba. Please let me know if you can hear me because I just realized that I think my microphone was off. But I was sharing with you in case you didn't hear me. I was sharing that we're still waiting for Claire. I hope everything is okay and she can um, join. Yep, it was me. It was me. I had my microphone off. Sorry, guys. So we're basically starting right now. I was sharing with you that the intention of this session today was to have Pagoda projects, but for some reason seems like Claire cannot join us. These things happen. It's like the reason why I also like to share all this content and things live. It's because it's like in the real work environment. I'm facing also some situations with my internet. I hope you guys can hear me now. Sometimes like the video it's getting frozen, but it has to do with my internet. I really apologize. We're having heavy rain and it's getting impacted by that. So I hope you guys can hear me. So I was sharing with you, and it's very nice to see you. When we are talking about attracting young talent to companies, right? Uh, One of the ways, it depends, and we are mentioning here, sorry, international internships, because typically, the bigger the company, there's more chances, like to try to find younger talent. Like we're looking for people who's willing to learn with us, and it depends on the company. When we're talking about like specific internships, there's several types of projects. eh, it depends on the industry, the company, but there's always like things that we as a company can offer to this talent that is starting their journey. And thank you, Claire is here.
So sorry.
Let's put her. Hey, how are you, Claire?
I'm very well, thanks. Really nice
Yay.
talking to you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
No, thank you for joining. I was starting first. I have some audio issues, but here we are, and I'm so very glad because I was going to present Pagoda projects by myself, but it's so much better that you're here with us. So I know also that you have limited time, so we're going to just go through this information because I was starting to share, like, depending on the company, the industry, when we're talking about internship programs per se, it's something that companies, I should say nowadays, really need to pay attention. Is the opportunity that you're giving to young talent, and sometimes not even that young, to join your company. And something that I like about Pagoda is that at least the program that I'm aware of, and I would of course love you to share more about it, but at least the program you share with me, it can work for students, but also students out of college or in college, but also for master's degree, for example. So there's
Definitely.
a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of programs out there. And I think we have at least 1 minute for you to introduce yourself and then just help us and start talking right away about the international internships with Pagoda.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Yes, so my background is that I studied languages at university. So I studied Mandarin and French. And when I graduated, I managed to get an internship in China. And that was the start of my journey. So, having an internship doing marketing for a company in China, and it really opened my eyes. So, from my perspective, I know how valuable that was for me as a recent graduate. Since then, I've been working for Pagoda Projects, and I mean, since 2007, I think the organization has welcomed over 4,000 students to do internships abroad in China, in Vietnam, in Mexico, and in the UK. And this year we also started offering sort of in-person internships in Europe as well. So in Portugal, in Spain, and in Germany. So really exciting to have students traveling all over the world and meeting companies from all over the world. I think there are sort of three main aims to what we do. The first is to help companies all over the world, usually small to medium enterprises, to gain access to talent with a wide range of different language skills, with a wide range of different study backgrounds, who can then interact with their staff, offer new perspectives on, global markets, and offer assistance at times when things are really busy in the company. And then the sort of second aim is to help the students in their personal development, to give them real life opportunities, to sort of help them transition from university life to working life. And then the third group that we help is our university and government partners, who fund the opportunities. And their aims are usually to decrease the gap between sort of university graduates and entry into the working world, and to make that a much smoother process, and also to internationalize their students, because they want their students to be working more internationally and to be developing links across borders when they go into the world of work as well. So those are, I guess, the three stakeholders that we help out. Yeah, and it's a really interesting program over the years, because I've seen interns coming from sort of engineering backgrounds and doing engineering internships. I've also seen students coming from, say, for example, language studies, but they end up doing marketing and sort of helping out on those kind of projects. So it really is a wide range of different areas that students can help out with. And I think the great thing about what's come out of the pandemic is that there's actually more opportunity for internships to happen across time zones online. So that's something we offer as well. And it means that, even if you as a business don't have a lot of space in the office, you might not even have an office if you're a small to medium-sized enterprise. That shouldn't stop you from having access to young talent from all over the world, because we can organise those online internships, and you can have the help of those talented students, and they can do work at different times for you in different time zones. And usually that's, you can find a really good way of working together that will benefit all parties. So that's a real exciting thing that's come out of the pandemic, I think, despite all of the negatives. And yep, I think a really key benefit for companies, this is my sort of final bit of my introduction, is if you can think of any area of your business where you've done maybe a tiny bit of research and you've come to a quick conclusion, but you just wish you had that extra time to dig a little deeper, to look at various different options, and you wish that you had a staff member, someone to focus more time on that is the kind of project that you can give to an intern. The same thing I would say is if you've got a junior staff member working for you who's looking for more responsibility, who's hoping to gain some kind of management experience, then you can potentially offer that staff member a chance to supervise an intern, and give them a bit of responsibility to supervise someone else, and to push themselves up to that next level, to prove themselves. If you're hoping to give someone more responsibility in a management role in the future, this is a great way to test them, and it also benefits the interns being able to work in a small team, and to get some real project management experience. And the final point I'd say is just that fresh perspective. So if you have an intern coming in from a completely different culture, they really can offer you a completely different insight into that market, the market that they come from, and language-wise, and also being young, when it comes to a youthful perspective on how the young sort of audience will react to things on social media. All of those kind of things can be really, really useful in just giving you that fresh perspective.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this, because I think part of, we do have in the audience some people that might be working in human resources. And typically, you just mentioned something very, very good that I actually like about Pagoda. It's like you work with, like medium to big size company. That doesn't mean that you don't work also with international huge companies, right?
Yeah.
But when you are sometimes, like when you are in human resources or when you are in recruiting, maybe you don't belong to a huge enterprise and they ask you to bring talent, in some cases that speaks more than one language,
Yeah.
that would like that, maybe because sometimes, like if we think about this type of programs, the students and the countries that you mentioned, some of them even on their own have the opportunity to travel abroad. They speak English, they speak French, they speak any other language, and they can also bring, as you said, besides the fresh eyes, they bring that international perspective to your company. So I think it's something good. Just like I would really like to highlight here the flexibility that these type of programs can bring to the companies. Because of course, partnering with you is a great opportunity. I told you a few weeks ago when I met you, like I'm more than excited to start working with you with Lime Chronicles, so we can make something nice out of this project for students as well. But any other company, like when you have the students right there that would like to take part of a project, if you offer some flexibility, if they have the ability to work in a different time zone, then you have no excuse to bring talent and to give the opportunity for them to learn and, as you said, to experience the corporate world. So that's what I really appreciate, that you're here to share this message, because you are working, or you guys are working with different countries, different companies, a lot
Yeah.
of students. It is possible. It is possible. So here, I would just like, if you can share briefly, like um, obviously, if anyone is interested, I'm going to share as well, like the website and where they can reach out to you. But if I'm a company, what do I need in order to work with Pagoda? Like, let's say I really need extra help in finance, I really need extra help in human resources, and I would love to have some students joining me, and I'm pretty sure I can help them as well. What do
Yeah.
I need first?
Fantastic. So there's 3 steps. The first step is sort of signing up on our website, just putting your details in there, and we'll try and book in a call with you to get to know what your business needs, where interns might be able to benefit you, where you're based, and what your current priorities are. After that call, there's just 2 other steps that need to be completed. So one is sort of agreeing to our general terms and conditions and any GDPR and regulations and things like that. And then the final step is submitting some kind of a position description, internship position description, or several internship position descriptions if you're looking to aim it at different types of students, different types of interns, which we then put up on our website. And once those 3 steps are completed, we'll field the applications that we get from various different universities across the world. So there'll be students coming from UK universities, from Canadian, from Australian, from New Zealand, and from US universities as well. So it's a whole range. And we'll field those applications and send over any CVs of students who are interested in your positions. You can then decide who you want to interview and how many interviews you want to give as well. It's entirely up to you in terms of your recruitment process. And if everything goes well, then we'll confirm those internships. We do offer, I guess, 2 types of intern. So there's the online interns, which is primarily what I've been talking about here. And regardless of where your business is in the world, where you're based, you can probably welcome an online intern, depending on what time zone they're in and what kind of projects you have available. And we also offer sort of physical in-person interns in specific locations around the world where we have staff based. So those are in Mexico City, in Ho Chi Minh City, in Chengdu in China, in Manchester in the UK, and in Taipei in Taiwan. So if you're lucky enough to have an office based in any of those places, then we can certainly offer the idea of an in-person intern physically coming into your office as well.
And then, so is it necessary that the companies per se already have an internship program, or they can work with what you offer. Because again, like I think, and I know you have to leave in a few minutes, but I think this is very valuable. I'll be here, of course, if someone has any other question in terms of internships, but specifically working with Pagoda is like, okay, the company already needs to have something, or we can help with that part as well.
Not at all. We're really happy to help you build an internship program. So even if you've never had interns before, it's essentially, just to repeat what I said earlier, all you have to do is speak to your colleagues, have a think about where the gaps are in your business, where you don't have enough time, or where you would like to develop one of your members of staff to a sort of managerial level, any of those kind of things, and we can essentially work with you, have a conversation with you on that first phone call, and work out what would work best for the sort of students that we get, the sort of candidates that we get, and what you need as a business or an organization, and then we can develop that internship program together with you.
That's perfect. And do you see at this point any type of specific challenge, let's say, with the students? Because you work directly with the universities, right? Let's say if I'm a student in any country, it's not that I can go to you and say, hey, I want to be an intern with you. It's through the universities?
Correct. Yeah. So our university partners usually are the ones who are funding the opportunity. So in essence, we have very specific internship dates that the university sets out. So it could be that these students are doing the internship, an 8-week internship as a part of their master's course, and therefore they have to do it in June and July. And so we often get a lot of candidates available in June, July, and August. Or it could be if they're based in, if their university is based in Australia and New Zealand, the university might dictate that the internships have to take place between November and February, for example. So there are sort of conditions that apply because the universities are in charge of sort of dictating the students' timetables. But it's always something we can work around, and we do tend to have some sort of online interns available all year round.
Mm-hmm. And then in terms, because that's perfect, and thank you so much for sharing this. It reminds us again that we have to plan our workforce, even if it's internships, from the company side, and also from the student part. Like, hey, you want to do something, then you have to start looking in advance. But in terms of the challenges in general, because of course you guys are doing, and I told you, you guys are doing a great job, like trying to promote these internships, finding more partners to work with both universities and companies. When we're talking specifically about the students itself, is there any challenge that you will say, this is what we're always struggling, even when we're doing all the efforts, this is what we see in the market?
It's a really good question. I mean, there are things that do crop up from time to time. So I'd say getting used to, for the student, getting used to working across time zones and being sort of independently responsible for a project and moving that forward. If they've never done something like that before, it is a challenge to start with. And that's where it's really important for someone, from a supervisor from the company, to be able to guide them, to be able to check in on them regularly and say, look, this is where I need you to be by then. It's up to you to be flexible with your hours and to get the work done in the time that you have available. But this is the checkpoint, and making sure that feedback's given on a regular basis. Because I think you've got to remember that students are transitioning from the university life where they're given deadlines and they're given sort of very specific milestones, and we find that students respond really well to that. While they're sort of transitioning into the independent world of work, where they're expected to kind of push their own projects forward on their own steam, it's really useful if the internship supervisor at the company has a think about that in advance and sort of sets some key feedback points up to make sure that they get hit.
Mm-hmm. Perfect, Claire. So I think even when it's like, it's a very efficient conversation. I appreciate your time because I know you have to leave, but this is a great example to all the people that is listening to us, that sometimes you don't need an entire hour to have very valuable information from a potential client, from a potential vendor. In 15 minutes, you can get a lot of information, and of course, then follow up. If anyone is interested in start working with Pagoda Projects, below you can see the website, what is the type of projects they have. This video is going to stay on LinkedIn. I'm going to stay a few more minutes just to talk about few of the topics that you mentioned that I think it's very important for companies and students to consider when we're talking about internships. But I really, really appreciate all your input and your time because I know you're busy. I am looking forward to continue working with you. And of course, I hope a lot of people start signing into your website to be part of these internship
That would
programs.
be incredible. I'm looking forward to speaking to anyone that's interested. Just a final word that I say is signing up with us is not a specific commitment to say that you will 100% take an intern either. We offer you the option of signing up and agreeing to everything. You can then take a look at the candidates, and if you don't see any that are suitable for the sort of projects that you have at the moment, there's no obligation to sort of accept interns when we send you the candidates. We like to have a sort of collaborative way of relationship, essentially, so that if things don't work out at that specific time period, you never know when we might have other candidates in the future for a different university program that might be better suited to what you're looking to find. So what I would say is sign up anyway, is what I say to everyone. You never know what might come up and what might work out for you.
Perfect. Thank you, Claire. And I will always be sharing the work that you do, guys, because I really believe in that. Thank you so
Really,
much for joining.
thank you so
Have a
much.
great rest of your day.
Bye.
See you. Bye bye. So I'm staying a little bit more here. I really appreciate that Claire could join for a moment. I will continue having here this website so you can see what she's doing. But I think there's some points that I would just like to summarize, and I think it's important for companies when we're talking about international recruitment. That is part of some of the videos and content that I'm building in English. I said it from our first session. The intention is as well that the audience that is kindly following me from Latin America or any other country where they speak Spanish or because they want to practice their Spanish as well, it's important to take these opportunities to, yes, practice another language, but also see how similar the challenges that a country has might be, like something that you can find in another country, for example. And I think like I had the opportunity to work with international companies that already have a very well established internship program or trainee programs. But there's also, I will say in this case, it is not really important the size of the company. It's more about how do you build that program? What is the organization you have, the structure you have? So I think that's one of the main things that I would like to highlight from working with, like partnering with a service, for example, like in this case with Pagoda, because they, as you guys heard, they can even help you to build your program. And that's sometimes is like for the people that is here that perhaps is not from Latin America or is not very involved in all the discussions and conversations that sometimes we have on LinkedIn, because this streaming is also on Facebook and on YouTube. But there's a lot of people out there that is saying, without junior, there's no senior, and the other way around. So these type of activities or these type of programs within the companies are definitely helping to build the workforce, I will say, of the present and the future. But that thing that Claire shared at the end in terms of challenges is when you are bringing new talent, it doesn't matter honestly if it's Gen Z or if it's a millennial, it can be a baby boomer. Any new employee that you bring to your company, despite all the efforts that you do in terms of recruitment, there's a critical step, which is the onboarding. Mainly, of course, when we're talking about entry level positions. But it is very important that you as a company might have this organization. Recruitment can help you. The talent acquisition area is going to be out there, find talent. But once you bring the students or once you bring this new member for your company, it's very important to know what are they going to do. That's what I always say, that talent acquisition or talent attraction is a team effort. We are looking to bring talent to your company, but then what are they going to do? And I think that's is something that I would really like to reinforce that Claire shared with us almost at the end. It's like, if you're bringing students, like it typically happens, right, that you're bringing someone that you think because they are young or they have a lot of energy, they should know what to do and they have to be proactive. They might be proactive and they might have a lot of energy and they might like to work with you for hours. But first of all, we have to start taking care of them because it's, as I said, is the workforce for now and the future. What happens when you don't have deadlines? What happens when you don't have processes? And this is something that can happen sometimes, for example, with startups. Because if you think about it, like if you have an extra need in your team, and I think we didn't have a lot of time to mention that with Claire, but with these projects from Pagoda, it's not mandatory that you give like a salary to the students or any type of additional support. Let's say it's nice to have, but it's not something mandatory for the program itself. And it's similar in many companies, right? A lot of companies still thinking that having an internship or a trainee program in a way is kind of cheap, because you don't have to pay them. But you are doing more than that. It's more than the salary. You are helping the students to join the workforce. You are helping them to understand how the corporate world works. And definitely you are like forming the talent force that is going to be out there, either doing and keeping the same practices that we have, or you are going to promote better practices. And I think this is a privileged time that we have right now as companies, as leaders, and also as in general employees. You can contribute to create a better environment, and definitely starts with these type of programs when you bring talent fresh out of college, that they are very enthusiastic because they really want to understand how the world works, the corporate world works. Then you have to provide the tools, the organization, mentorship, and everything. If you see, it's like I am speaking all the time about recruiting, but when it comes to actually bringing the talent, that's when the teamwork comes, like in terms of being super important. It's more talent attraction, and talent retention is more than just finding the candidates and make a selection. It's about helping the talent to experience a good culture, helping them to understand how they are supporting the company. Why is important what are they doing to reach the goals of the organization. So that's why I really wanted to talk about this. A lot of my content is also directed to the Generation Z. And yes, sorry guys, my internet is not very well because it's raining here in Cleveland and it's cutting off. But I hope you can hear me. We I think it's for a lot of people that it's hosting live sessions on LinkedIn and streaming. We are suffering with the streaming services in some cases, but I hope you guys can still hear me. Um, and we're almost closing this session, but I would really like to leave with this message. Most of my content is also directed, and this is the way I put it, right, even in Spanish. I'm creating all this content to share with the new generation how we can really improve and change all the things that perhaps are not working very well in the corporate environment. It is possible. Of course, it might take a little bit more time, but it's definitely our decision as a company, the leaders, not only the business, like all the people that is involved in an organization. We contribute to have a better culture, a healthy culture. We are the ones who take part and build like a nice work environment or a toxic environment. So I think it's definitely important when we're talking about internships, training programs, when we are considering to attract Gen Z or millennials. It's important to have a plan, to work with them closely, to have mentorship, to be good leaders, let's say, because then why are you here if you want to be a leader? Why are you bringing um, younger talent, right? So I think this is a great example of yeah, us working, finding new talent, offering opportunities to students. And I don't know if any of you guys in the audience have any question or something that you would like to ask. Please let me know if this type of content it's interesting for you. Of course, I think I shared that in the last session. Uh, the guests that I have here is people that I know that I've been working with, services that I already tried. In the case of Pagoda Projects, we're working with them with Lyme Chronicles because we are looking for volunteers, and we're looking for a lot of skills that we are pretty sure students might have. So I hope this is some valuable content for you. And it's always nice to have this type of conversation, mainly when we're talking from the human resources perspective. I see that here we have also sometimes people that is looking for a job at this point, and of course they have families, they have like students at home, friends, etc. So I think this is, as I share in my conversations with you, please share this type of topics with your family. Take an opportunity to discuss how the work environment is changing and how is it really possible for us to make an impact in the companies we work for. The decision to change, it always starts with us. And I really think it's possible. Things like internship programs is a great way to contribute, to transform, and to create a new and positive work environment. So I don't know if any of you guys have any question, comment, something that you would like to share. I really, really appreciate the time that you dedicated. Sorry that we have, it happens sometimes, some technical difficulties. I think, as I said, sometimes this is one of the disadvantages of the live sessions. But if you think about it, in real life, it's the same. Sometimes you are at work and you have to face all these things. Agendas get crazy. This is also part of the international environment when you have to work with someone in a different time zone, people from other countries. This is like a typical international work environment. So I really appreciate your time. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. There you go. Thank you, everyone. As I said, sorry again about some technical issues that I'm having with the internet, but I really appreciate your time. As always, I share a brief summary about the session. In this case, because it was quite short compared to others, I'm going to leave the details in case someone of you would like to contact Pagoda Projects. And of course, like here in the Hiring Revolution, I'm going to be sharing content in English every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Central Time, and 4 p.m. Europe. Most of some of our guests for September are going to be also in Europe, the United States. I'm going to share the calendar. There's a lot of exciting conversations coming for September. In September, if you don't know, September 7 is the Global Talent Acquisition Day. So I'm very excited for the next session. It's like just talk about my passion of talent acquisition. And then we're going to have, of course, other guests to talk about related topics with recruiting and talent acquisition itself. That's for the month of September. So I'll be sharing the calendar. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Thank you.